Chapter 15. Before the match. The MCC's challenge to a friendly match was accepted by the Young Men's Union, who kept themselves in form by indefatigable practice on the vacant site behind the reading room, or when the owner of the site objected, right in the middle of Cullum Street.
The match was friendly in naught but name. The challenge sent by the MCC was couched in terms of defiance and threat. There were some terrifying conditions attached to the challenge.
The first condition was that the players should be in the field promptly at 11 noon. The second was that they should carry their own bats, while the stumps would be graciously supplied by the MCC. The third was not so much a plain condition as a firm hint that they would do well to bring and keep in stock a couple of their own balls.
The reason for this was given in the pithy statement that your batsmen might hit your own balls and not break ours. The next was the inhospitable suggestion that they had better look out for themselves in regard to lunch, if they cared to have any at all. The last condition was perhaps the most complicated of the lot, over which some argument and negotiation ensued. You shall pay for breaking bats, balls, wickets and other damages.
The YMU captain was rather puzzled by this. He felt that it was irrelevant in view of the fact that there were conditions 2 and 3, and if they broke any bats and balls at all, it would be their own property, and the MCC's anxiety to have the damage made good was unwarranted. He was told that the stumps belonged to the MCC anyway, and there was also the YMU's overlooking clauses 2 and 3.
At which the YMU captain became extremely indignant and asked why, if the MCC was so impoverished, it should not come and play in their, YMU's, own pitch and save them the trouble of carrying their team about. The stinging rejoinder occurred to the indignant Rajam exactly 20 minutes after the other captain had left, that it could not be done, as the MCC did not think much of a match played in the middle of Cullum Street, if the owner of the vacant site behind the reading room should take it into his head to object to the match. Before he left, the YMU captain demanded to be told what other damages in the last clause meant.
Rajam paused, looked about, and pointed to the windows and tiles of a house adjoining the MCC field. The match was to be played on Sunday 2 weeks later. Rajam lost all peace of mind.
He felt confident that his team could thrash the YMU. He himself could be depended upon not to let down the team. Money was steady if unimpressive. He could be depended upon to stop with his head, if necessary, any ball.
His batting was not bad. He had a peculiar style. With his bat he stopped all reasonable approaches to the wicket and brought the best bowlers to a fainting condition.
Rajam did not consider it worthwhile to think of the other players of the team. There was only one player who caused him the deepest anxiety day and night. He was a dark horse.
On him rested a great task, a mighty responsibility. He was the Tate of the team, and he must bowl out all the 11 of the other team. But he looked uncertain.
Even with the match only a fortnight off, he did not seem to care for practice. He stuck to his old habit of arriving at the field when darkness had fallen on the earth. Single quote.
Swami, Rajam pleaded, please do try to have at least an hour's practice in the evenings. Certainly Rajam, if you can suggest a way. Why not you tell your headmaster that?
Oh, no, Swaminathan cried, I am grateful to you for your suggestion. But let us not think of that man. He has not forgotten your last visit yet.
I don't care. What I want is that you should have good practice. If you keep any batsman standing for more than 5 minutes, I will never see your face again.
You needn't concern yourself with the score. You can leave it to us. Just 7 days before the match, Swaminathan realized that his evenings were more precious than ever.
As soon as the evening bell rang, he lined up with the rest in the drill ground. But contrary to the custom, he had not taken off his coat and cap. All the others were in their shirts, with their dhotis tucked up.
The drill master, a square man with protruding chest, a big moustache sharpened at the ends, and a silk turban wound in military style, stood as if he posed before a camera, and surveyed his pupils with a disdainful side glance. The monitor called out the names from the greasy register placed on the vaulting horse. The attendance after an interminable time was over, and the drill master gave up his pose, came near the file, and walked from one end to the other, surveying each boy sternly.
Swaminathan, being short, came towards the end of the file. The drill master stopped before him, looked him up and down, and passed on muttering, you won't get leave. Coat and cap off.
Swaminathan became desperate and pursued him, Sir, I am in a terrible state of health. I can't attend drill today. I shall die if I do.
Sir, I think I shall. He was prancing behind the drill master. The drill master had come to the last boy and yet Swaminathan was dogging him.
He turned round on Swaminathan with a fierce oath. What is the matter with you? Sir, you don't understand my troubles. You don't even care to ask me what I am suffering from.
Yes. What exactly is ailing you now? Swaminathan had at first thought of complaining of headache, but now he saw that the drill master was in a mood to slight even the most serious of headaches. He had an inspiration and said, Sir, the whole of last night I was delirious.
The drill master was stunned by this piece of news. Why, oh, you were delirious? Are you mad?
No, sir. I didn't sleep a wink last night. I was delirious.
Our doctor said so. He has asked me not to attend drill for a week to come. He said that I should die if I attended drill.
Get away, young swine, before I am tempted to throttle you. I don't believe a word. But you are a persevering swine.
Get out. The intervening period, about half an hour, between leaving the drill ground and reaching the cricket field, was a blur of hurry and breathlessness. Everybody at the field was happy to see him so early.
Rajam jumped with joy. On the whole, everything was satisfactory. The only unpleasant element in all this was an obsession that the drill master might spy him out.
So that, when they dispersed for the evening, Swaminathan stayed in Rajam's house till it was completely dark, and then skulked home, carefully avoiding the lights falling in the street from shop fronts. The next morning he formed a plan to be free all the evenings of the week. He was at his desk with the manual of grammar open before him.
It was 7:30 in the morning, and he had still 2.5 hours before him for the school. He did a little cautious reconnoitering. Mother was in the baby's room, for the rhythmic creaking of the cradle came to his ears. Father's voice was coming from the front room. He was busy with his clients.
Swaminathan quietly slipped out of the house. He stood before a shop in front of which hung the board, Dr. T. Kesavan, L.M. and S. Sri Krishna Dispensary. The doctor was sitting at a long table facing the street.
Swaminathan found that the doctor was alone and free, and entered the shop. Hello, Swaminathan, what is the matter? Nothing, sir.
I have come on a little business. All well at home? Quite.
Doctor, I have got to have a doctor's certificate immediately. What is the matter with you? I will tell you the truth, doctor.
I have to play a match next week against the Young Men's Union. And I must have some practice. And yet every evening there is drill class, scouting, some dirty period or other.
If you could give me a certificate asking them to let me off at 4:30, it would help the MCC to win the match. Well, I could do it. But is there anything wrong with you?
Swaminathan took half a second to find an answer. Certainly, I am beginning to feel of late that I have delirium. What did you say? Asked the doctor anxiously. Swaminathan was pleased to find the doctor so much impressed, and repeated that he was having the most violent type of delirium.
Boy, did you say delirium? What exactly do you mean by delirium? Swaminathan did not consider it the correct time for cross-examination.
But he had to have the doctor's favor. He answered, I have got it. I can't say exactly.
But isn't it some kind of stomach ache? The doctor laughed till a great fit of coughing threatened to choke him. After that he looked Swaminathan under the eye, examined his tongue, tapped his chest, and declared him to be in the pink of health, and told him he would do well to stick to his drill if he wanted to get rid of delirium.
Swaminathan again explained to him how important it was for him to have his evenings free. But the doctor said, it is all very well. But I should be prosecuted if I gave you any such certificate.
Who is going to find it out, doctor? Do you want our MCC to lose the match? I wish you all success.
Don't worry. I can't give you a certificate. But I shall talk to your headmaster about you and request him to let you off after 4:30.
That will do. You are very kind to me, doctor. At 4:30 that evening, without so much as thinking of the scouting class in the quadrangle of the school, Swaminathan went home and then to the cricket field.
Next day Lai had drill class, and he did not give it a thought. He was having plenty of practice. Rajam said, Swami, you are wonderful.
All that you needed was a little practice. What have you done about your evening classes? It is a slight brain work, my boy.
Our doctor has told the headmaster that I should die if I stayed in the school after 4:30. I got him to do it. What do you think of it?
Mani dug him in the ribs and cried, "You are the brainiest fellow I have ever seen." Rajam agreed with him, and then was suddenly seized with worry. "Oh, I don't know if we shall win that match. I will die if we lose."
Mani said, "Here, Rajam, I am sick of your talks of defeat. Do you think those monkey-faced fools can stand up to us?" "I shall write to the papers if we win," said Rajam.
"Will they print our photos?" Tate asked. "Without doubt."
It was during the geography hour on Friday that the headmaster came to the class, cane in hand. The geography master, Mr. Rama Rao, a mild elderly person, rose respectfully. The headmaster gave the full benefit of his wizened face to the class.
His owl-like eyes were fixed upon Swaminathan, and he said, "Get up." Swaminathan got up. "Come here."
Swaminathan came there promptly. "Show your shameless face to the class fully." Swaminathan now tried to hide his face.
The headmaster threw out his arm and twisted Swaminathan's neck to make him face the class, and said, "This great man is too busy to bother about such trivial matters as drill and scouting, and has not honored these classes with his presence since last Monday." His lips twisted in a wry smile. The class considered it safer to take the cue, and gently giggled.
Even on the geography master's face there appeared a polite smile. "Sir, have you any explanation to give?" the headmaster asked. With difficulty Swaminathan found his voice and answered, "It was the doctor. Didn't the doctor talk to you about me, sir?"
"What doctor talk about what?" "He said he would," faintly answered Swaminathan. "If you talk in enigmas, I shall strip you before the class and thrash you."
Dr. Kesavan said. "What about Dr. Kesavan?" "He said he would talk to you about me and get me exemption from drill and other extra periods."
"He said that I should die if I attended drill for some days to come." "And pray what is your trouble?" "He thinks it is some kind of delirium, you know."
He had determined to avoid this word since he met the doctor last, but at this critical moment he blundered into it by sheer habit. The headmaster turned to the teacher and raised his brow. He waited for some time and said, "I am waiting to hear what other words of truth and wisdom are going to drop from your mouth."
"Sir, I thought he had talked to you. He said he would. I don't care to have every street mongrel come and tell me what to do in my school with my boys."
It is a good thing that this Surgeon General did not come. If he had, I would have asked the peon to bash his head on the table. Swaminathan realized that the doctor had deceived him.
He remembered the genial smile with which the doctor had said that he would see the headmaster. Swaminathan shuddered as he realized what a deep-dyed villain Dr. Kesavan was behind that genial smile. He would teach that villain a lesson, put a snake into his table drawer. He would not allow that villain to feel his pulse even if he, Swaminathan, should be dying of fever.
Further plans of revenge were stopped by a flick of the cane on his knuckles. The headmaster held the cane ready and cried, "Hold out your hand." 6 on each hand for each day of absence, and the whole of the next lesson on the bench.
"Monitor, you had better see to it. And remember W.S. Swaminathan, if you miss a single class again, I shall strip you in the school hall and ask the peon to cane you. You can't frighten me with your superintendent
of police, their sons, grandsons, or grandfathers. I don't care even if you complain to His Majesty." He released Swaminathan's neck and raised the cane.
Another moment and that vicious snake-like cane, quivering as if with life, would have descended on Swaminathan's palm. A flood of emotion swept him off his feet, a mixture of fear, resentment, and rage. He hardly knew what he was doing.
His arm shot out, plucked the cane from the headmaster's hand, and flung it out of the window. Then he dashed to his desk, snatched his books, and ran out of the room. He crossed the hall and the veranda in a run, climbed the school gate because the bolt was too heavy for him, and jumped into the end of Market Road.
He sat under a tree on the roadside to collect his thoughts. He had left the school to which he would never go back as long as that tyrant was there. If his father should hear of it, he would do heaven knew what.
He would force him to go back, which would be impossible. He had got out of 2 schools in this fashion. There were no more schools in Malgudi.
His father would have to send him to Trichinopoly or Madras. But probably the board high school headmaster would write to all the schools, telling them who Swaminathan was. He would not be admitted to any school.
So he would have to work and earn. He might get some rupees, and he could go to hotels and buy coffee and tiffin as often as he pleased. What divine sweets the Bombay Anand Bhavan made?
There was some green slab on the top left of the stall, with almonds stuck on it. He had always wanted to eat it, but lacked the courage to ask the hotel man, as he believed it to be very costly. His father would not allow him to remain in the house if he did not go to school.
He might beat him. He would not go home that day nor on any other day. He could not face his father.
He wondered at the same time where he could go. Anywhere. If he kept walking along Market Road, where would it lead him?
Probably to Madras. Could he reach Bombay and England if he went further? He could work in any of those places, earn money and do what he pleased.
If he should go by train. But what to do for money? There might not be much trouble about that.
The station master was an amiable man, and Swaminathan knew him. The school bell rang, and Swaminathan rose to hurry away. The boys might come out, stand around, and watch him as if he were something funny.
He hurried along Market Road, turned to his right, along Smith Street, and taking a shortcut through some intricate lanes, stood before his old school, the Albert Mission. The sight of the deep yellow building with its top story filled him with a nostalgia for old times. He wished he had not left it.
How majestic everything there now seemed. The headmaster, so dignified in his lace turban, so unlike the grubby wretch of the board. Vedanayagam, Ebenezer, even Ebenezer.
D.P. Pillai, how cozy and homely his history classes were. Swaminathan almost wept at the memory of Somu and the P. All his friends were there, Rajam, Somu, Mani, and the P, happy, dignified, and honored within the walls of the August Albert Mission School.
He alone was out of it, isolated, as if he were a leper. He was an outcast, an outcast. He was filled with a sudden self-disgust.
Oh, what would he not give to be back in the old school? Only, they would not take him in. It was no use.
He had no more schools to go to in Malgudi. He must run away to Madras and work. But he had better see Rajam and Mani before going away.
He lingered outside the school gate. He had not the courage to enter it. He was the enemy of the school.
The peon Singaram might assault him and drive him out if he saw him. He discreetly edged close to the massive concrete gate post which screened him from a direct view of the school. He had to meet Rajam and Mani.
But how? He stood still for a few minutes and formed a plan. He went round behind the school.
It was a part of the building that nobody frequented. It was a portion of the fallow field adjoining the school and terminating in the distant railway embankment. Swaminathan had not seen this place even once in all the 6 or 7 years that he had spent at the school.
Here the school compound wall was covered half with moss, and the rear view of the school was rather interesting. From here Swaminathan could see only the top half of the building, but even that presented a curious appearance. For instance, he could not at once point out where his old second A was situated.
He rolled up a stone to the foot of the wall, and stood on it. He could just see the school compound now. It was about 12, the busiest hour in the school, and there was not a single person in the compound.
He waited. It was tedious waiting. After a short time, a very small person came out of the first standard, to blow his nose.
The 3 sections of the first standard were in a block not a dozen yards from Swaminathan. Swaminathan whistled softly, and the very small person did not hear. Swaminathan repeated the whistling, and the very small person turned and started as if he saw an apparition.
Swaminathan beckoned to him. The small person took just a second to decide whether to obey the call of that apparition or to run back to the class. Swaminathan called him again.
And the very small man drew towards him as if in a hypnotic state, staring wildly. Swaminathan said, "Would you like to have an almond peppermint?" The very small man could hardly believe his ears.
Here was a man actually offering almond peppermints. It could not be true. There was probably some fraud in it.
Swaminathan repeated the offer and the small man replied rather cautiously that he would like to have the peppermint. "Well, then," Swaminathan said, "you can't have it just now. You will have to earn it."
Just go to second form A and tell M. Rajam that somebody from his house wants him urgently and bring him over here, and then hold out your hand for the peppermint. Maybe you will be given too. The small man stood silent, assimilating every detail of the question, and then with a puckered brow asked, "Where is second form A?"
Upstairs. Oh! The boy ejaculated with a note of despair, and stood ruminating.
What do you say? Swaminathan asked, and added, "Answer me before I count 10. Otherwise the offer is off."
1, 2, 3. You say it is upstairs? The boy asked.
Of course, I do. But I have never gone there. You will have to now.
I don't know the way. Just climb the stairs. They may beat me if I am seen there.
If you care for the almond peppermint, you will have to risk it. Say at once whether you will go or not. All right.
Wait for me. The very small man was off. 10 minutes later he returned, followed by Rajam.
Rajam was astonished to see Swaminathan's head over the wall. What are you doing here? Jump over the wall.
I want you very urgently, Rajam. I have got a class. I can't come out now.
Don't be absurd. Come on. I have something very urgent to say.
Rajam jumped over the wall and was by his side. Swaminathan's head disappeared from view. A pathetic small voice asked over the wall, "Where is my peppermint?"
"Oh, I forgot you, little one," Swaminathan said, reappearing. "Come on, catch this." He tossed a 3 pi coin at the other. "Why oh, you said almond peppermint," the boy reminded.
"I may say 1,000 things," Swaminathan answered brusquely, "but isn't a 3 pi coin sufficient? You can buy an almond peppermint if you want. But you said 2 almond peppermints."
"Now be off, young man. Don't haggle with me like a brinjal seller." "Leam contentment," said Swaminathan and jumped down from the stone.
"Rajam, do you know what has happened in the school today? I have fought with the headmaster. I am dismissed."
"I have no more schools or classes." "You fought with the headmaster?" "Yes, he came to assault me about the drill attendance, and I wrenched his hand and snatched the cane."
"I don't believe I shall ever go back to the school. I expect there will be a lot of trouble if I do." "What a boy you are," exclaimed Rajam.
"You are always in some trouble or other wherever you go. Always, always." "It was hardly my fault, Rajam," Swaminathan said, and tried to vindicate himself by explaining to him Dr. Kesavan's villainy.
"You have no sense, Swami. You are a peculiar fellow. What else could I do to get the evenings off for practice?"
"The YMU are no joke." "You are right, Swami. I watched the fellows at practice this morning."
"They have morning practice too. They are not bad players. There is one Mohideen, a dark fellow. Oh, you will have to keep an eye on him.
He bats like Bradman. You will have to watch him. There is another fellow, Shanmugam.
He is a dangerous bowler. But there is one weakness in Mohideen. He is not so steady on the leg side."
"Swami, don't worry about anything for some time to come. You must come in the morning too tomorrow. We have got to beat those fellows."
Swaminathan had really called Rajam to bid him good bye, but now he changed his mind. Rajam would stop him if he came to know of his adventurous plans.
He wasn't going to tell Rajam, nor anybody about it, not even money. If he was stopped, he would have no place to stay in. The match was still 2 days off.
He would go away without telling anyone, somehow practice on the way, come back for a few hours on the day of the match, disappear once again, and never come back to Malgudi, a place which contained his father, a stubborn father, and that tyrant of a headmaster. And no amount of argument on his part could ever make his father see eye to eye with him. If he went home, father might beat him, thrash him, or kill him, to make him return to the board high school.
Father was a tough man. He would have to come back on the day of the match, without anybody's knowledge. Perhaps it would not be necessary.
He asked suddenly, "Rajam, do you think I am so necessary for the match?" Rajam regarded him suspiciously and said, "Don't ask such questions." He added presently, "We can't do without you, Swami."
"No. We depend upon you. You are the best bowler we have."
"We have got to give those fellows a beating. I shall commit suicide if we lose." "Oh, Swami, what a mess you have made of things."
What are you going to do without a school? I shall have to join a workshop or some such thing. What will your father say when he hears of it?
Oh, nothing. He will say it is all right. He won't trouble me, Swaminathan said.
Swami, I must get back to the class. It is late. Rajam rose and sprinted towards the school, crying, "Come to the field early."
Come very soon, now that you are free.